Eh? Good afternoon, ma'am. Hello.
Hello, just a
Hello.
second, please.
Okay.
Okay. Hi, everyone. Let me just, I'm actually in our metaverse right now. I just need to go hide to the forest because I can't mute my microphone. Otherwise, all the testers will be able to hear the lectures as well. 1 second. I was thinking to hide underwater, but maybe I'll go to the forest. It's more poetic. All right. How are you, everyone?
We are fine, ma'am. We are doing great. We are excited, really excited to host you.
Thank you. I'm excited to be here. Yeah, next time you can join me here. We can be in the forest together in the metaverse. Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, ma'am. Hope our video and audio are clear, right? Okay.
Sorry?
Hope our video and audio are clear, right?
Yes. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah. Yeah. It's perfect. Yeah.
Okay. Let me just put my headphones just in case. I see that we have 120 room. Are we going to let them in before we start?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Just we want to brief you just before we enter them into the meeting. So
Okay.
I would like to give you a brief idea about this whole format, our format. So we will begin the session by introduction by one of our executive. Then after that, you can start your talk. Then which will be followed by a Q&A session. So for that, for a convenience, we have arranged two of our executive colleagues to read out the questions, or else you can take the questions directly from the chat box. Which one do you prefer?
Whatever is more convenient for you guys.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, fine. So we will read out the questions from the chat box to you at the end of the session. Okay, is that okay?
That sounds good.
Okay.
I just need to open my presentation. One second. All right. Perfect.
Do you want to try presenting like there is no error? And all?
1 second. Let me see. Happy to.
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, it's perfectly fine. Yeah.
Perfect.
So, ma'am, okay. Can we start the session? Can we allow the participants to enter the meeting?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, so good afternoon, everyone. So welcome to NIT Calicut community. So today we have Miss Evelyn Mora, Finnish entrepreneur, founder of Digital Village. Okay, so let's begin the session by introduction by Sanjana. So over to you, Sanjana.
On behalf of Team Tathva, I would like to wish a very pleasant evening to all our attendees today, and we hope that you are keeping well. Since its inception, Tathva has grown to become one of the biggest techno-managerial fests in South India through its efforts and the support extended to us by a parent institute, NIT Calicut. Once again, we are glad to have all of you here with us today. The lecture series has been the highlight of Tathva year after year, and today we formally commence the Tathva lecture series for the year 2022. Joining us today is our esteemed speaker, Evelyn Mora, the founder of internet company Digital Village, a social metaverse with its own community-led blockchain technology built prioritizing social and digital sustainability, digital land, and digital assets marketplace. She created the first transparent global digital sustainability study, calculations, and recommendations for more secure cyberspace, in addition to the latest concept of blockchain technology designed by the Digital Village. She also created the Helsinki Fashion Week in 2014. She relaunched the event under sustainability principle and became the world's first recognized and most sustainable fashion week. With her background in visual arts and fashion photography, she has been dedicated to creating a future focused on interdisciplinary sustainable innovation, technology, and design ever since graduating as a product developer and service designer. This evening, Evelyn Mora will be delivering a lecture on decentralization of crypto and Web3. Do join me in welcoming her to the Tathva lecture series. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. We have a lot of people here. It's a very interesting topic, I guess. The hype has reached India, so it's serious. So where shall I start? I have a video to show you about Digital Village, and I have prepared a small presentation. I'd like to start with a disclaimer. So this is all what I'm going to present to you are based on completely my opinion. You don't have to believe me or follow my advice. Just remember that, because I have pretty strong opinions about this field and these tools and the future. So those are not necessarily based on facts, can be very much based on my opinion. So, you know, Web3 is inevitable, right? But that doesn't mean that everyone can become a millionaire over a day. So if you buy an NFT or buy crypto, that doesn't mean that you might be successful. So that's something to keep in mind. I guess what's interesting about this field is the different visions people have sort of freedom in expressing. So one thing you won't fall short on is visions in Web3. That's, of course, a really great thing to have a lot of visions, but at the same time, it can be misleading. So what is a metaverse? You know, I'll tell you a little bit about how I ended up finding Digital Village, but before going there, just to check, how much time do we have?
Ma'am, we are expecting a 1 hour talk session followed by a Q&A session. That's the format we are planning.
Okay, great. So So all of you know what Metaverse is, but did you know what Metaverse is 6 months ago?
Not really.
No, right. So obviously, because of Mark Zuckerberg, we now know what Metaverse is, but we know what's the vision of Mark Zuckerberg of the Metaverse, right? So I actually, in 2019, I was visiting a Dutch designer in Antwerp, and she showed me a little bit of her design process. She does this haute couture, really refined, detailed dresses. She uses like waste fabric, different waste materials, but she turns them into really redefined, like imagine a sari that's handmade and it's huge and it has little details, you know, that level of detail. So incredible craftsmanship. And once we dug a little deeper into her design process, I realized actually how much she uses 3D tools and designs when she designs shapes and essentially compatibility of different shapes and such, informing a dress. And that gave me an idea, and I asked her if she could implement her full design process with 3D tools. So I went ahead and I wrote an article for Forbes China. They told me back then that, you know, using digital tools is something that it's really far-fetched. Like, we don't think that it's something that will happen anytime soon. So they were a bit like, we don't know if we want to publish this article, but they did publish it. We got a great feedback of this article, but that was the first time when I was talking about using digital tools in the design process. Of course, we can talk for hours about these tools and how you can use them, what you should use and what you shouldn't use, but I'm going to try to keep it as understandable as possible and not jump from topic to topic. So ultimately, after writing this article, I was grocery shopping online. I don't know if there is a delivery service like a Deliveroo or Uber Eats in India. Anyway, you know, 5 years ago, I wanted to order sushi to my place, and I was like, gosh, I think it's more than 5 years, to be honest. Time goes so quickly, but I wanted to order sushi, and I thought that can never happen in Finland. So I'm from Finland. It's a small country of 5.5 million people. So now we have that. We can order anything. I can order an espresso, although it will be cold when it arrives here, but I can order an espresso or a smoothie or a pizza or anything I want, I can order it. And even in Finland, there is a company that now delivers clothing as well, other things other than food. So I was online shopping for groceries because I can't carry so much groceries and I can't do it too many times a week because I don't have the time, unfortunately. And I got bored and I was thinking that, wow, like, why can I not have a different experience? Like, for instance, put my goggles on or go play a game, and, you know, I can play a game and earn some benefits in, you know, I can get 10% discount of my bottle of milk. I don't drink milk, but anyway, you know, why is this experience so boring? It's like this wide screen and I have to click on these overly bright groceries, like package of bread, for example, and such. And the delivery man anyway has to bring it to me. Someone in the store goes and collects my order and someone delivers it to my door. I was thinking that, why can I not put my goggles on and go to Mars and have Elon Musk be the cashier? Like, have a little chit chat with Elon Musk, and then I would still get my delivery here, right? Someone has to anyway deliver it to me. But why is this experience so boring? And then for the first time ever, I opened my phone and I checked my screen time. And I noticed that I'm spending on average 9 hours per day in front of my computer. And I'm a very sort of, you can call it innovative or future minded or whatever, like futuristic person. But at the same time, I'm very traditional. I appreciate traditional things, and futuristic things have to be, have to improve the original experience without compromising beauty, tradition, culture, and basically enrich the experience, not compromise it, right? So ultimately I was thinking that, oh my God, I'm spending 9 hours a day on average on my laptop and on my phone. I'm completely addicted to social channels like Instagram and such. And ultimately, I was thinking that it's almost like being in a dungeon, in a dark dungeon for 9 hours a day, because I have no control of how these spaces are designed. And I'm completely in the mercy of the platform, the software, when I'm spending time there. So I started looking at colors and duration factors and sound. And I dug really, really deep, like so deep with the sound, for example, that I found different methods of torture with frequencies, like sound and colors. These are things not to take as granted. Very important little details that create that big experience. So then I started I went to different architect companies. I met with Zaha Hadid team in London. I was there looking really silly, showing them my laptop. And I said, I want to enter the cyberspace. This is when I had no idea what metaverse was. Literally, they were looking at me. What do you mean? What do you mean? So now they have actually built something on the metaverse. But like for a long time, I looked like complete idiots. I was in Paris in a startup campus. They call it the world's biggest startup campus, right? It should be the most technologically savvy startup campus in the world in Station F. I was there walking around and telling to people, I was the only one doing anything like this concept. And I was going around trying to pitch, and I was like, so Digital Village is like a spatial social media built on blockchain with its own cryptocurrency and all that stuff. And no one would understand me, and they would just be like, Evelyn, no, we don't get it. You really need to pitch in a way that people understand you. Otherwise, you'll never get funding. And I was like, but how else can I explain blockchain or the metaverse? This is it. This is what we are building. So after Mark Zuckerberg came out with the fact that, okay, he's building a metaverse and changing his company into Meta, suddenly everybody, even the cashiers in the smallest villages and shops in France, knew what metaverse was. Is that a good thing? Yes and no. I'll get back to that a bit deeper soon. But ultimately, in 2020, with Helsinki Fashion Week, I was thinking that, okay, so I've done Helsinki Fashion Week for 8 years, a nonprofit organization. Its main purpose is to push sustainable supply chains and design. But all these, like literally we had to work with sustainable sponsors and sustainable brands. So the due diligence process was always very long. Pepsi used to send us every year an email offering us money and products and in exchange for promotion. And we would never say no. We would just send a really long email with very detailed questions on their supply chain. And we would never get an answer. So we would never work with them. But they would again send the same email the next year. So of course, if we would get like hundreds of thousands of dollars, it would be quite easy to produce an event. What do you need for an event? You need security, location, invitations, hiring people for planning. It's not that difficult to make a fashion week, It's not like a magical thing I've created with Helsinki Fashion Week. What is significant is that we tick every little small, tiny detail and box when it comes to ethical and sustainable approach to not only the event, its impact, but also the whole production cycle of the event. So in 2020, I was thinking, okay, so we have these 30 sustainable designers. Let's do something different, and let's make Helsinki Fashion Week even more sustainable. Yes, it's the world's most sustainable fashion week, but let's make it more sustainable. Let's get rid of everything extra, like that is unnecessary. So I believe all of you are familiar with the concept of showroom, right? So in a fashion show, showroom is a space where designers eventually bring their collections for the buyers and the press to have closer look on them. Essentially, these are clothing on hangers, on racks, basically. That's a showroom. So they can be on mannequins as well. So I was like, okay, let's get rid of our showroom. We have only 30 brands, and that's our intention. So let's actually give them something else. Let's give them a different type of experience in getting to know the designers and the brand and the clothing better. And I was planning this 3-dimensional interactive 3D room. So essentially having one room where the buyers and press can walk in and interact with the 3D design. So that turned into a first ever 3D fashion week. Why? Because small brands are small brands, meaning they don't have so much cash to, rent Eiffel Tower and produce a fashion show. Of course, whatever you show under Eiffel Tower on a skinny, tall, pretty model, it's gonna look good. Like very little chance that you're gonna go wrong, but not everyone can afford that. So also the vision and the talent and the product of these sustainable designers are way, way more different than these brands that show under the Eiffel Tower. They have different values, different stories and messages they want to deliver. So I thought, let's digitize your collections and build an Eiffel Tower, a Vatican City, Louvre in the metaverse. And I was like, okay, so you know what? It's going to be very easy to put this together and very easy to convince partners to join, but it's going to be very difficult to convince the designers, the creatives who are very particular of their brand identity to suddenly join and do everything digitally. So I was very not optimistic, pessimistic about this situation. So I took the phone and I called each and one designer myself, one by one. And each designer said, Evelyn, I have no idea what the hell you're talking about, but I'm in. And I was completely surprised the amount of trust that they had in us. So one designer said, Indian designer said, no, it's not what I want. Really, I don't want to go to that direction. Then she called the next day and she joined. So everyone said yes. All right, so let's go ahead and digitize. So essentially, everybody sent their mood boards and their patterns for the clothing, and I sat down and found a compromise of many different 30 different visions of different locations, and we managed to build different shows for them. You can see these on Digital Village YouTube channel, these videos. Anyway, so so I created Digital Village, inspired by Eco Village, a physical Eco Village proof of sustainable societies in 2018. So I was like, yeah, I'm going to call this Digital Village, and this will be the platform hosting these shows. So ultimately, Helsinki Fashion Week has always generated millions and millions of dollars of earned media attention and reaching hundreds and hundreds of millions of Gen Zers in our target audience with zero marketing budgets, just with communication, internal communication. I'm the one who does the press releases. I send it to my team, they check it, they release it. So obviously at this stage, we didn't have any marketing budget as well. Honestly, I still am a bit shocked about paying press. Like I've never paid press ever. And it's so weird. Like if you're interested and you want to report about my work, why should I pay you? I don't get that concept. Anyway, so after launching Digital Village, suddenly, magically, we used Twitch, by the way. We were the first fashion platform to use Twitch. They were like, we've never worked with fashion before. And then Burberry went there, and now everyone's talking about Twitch when it comes to fashion industry. It's a great platform. So we went to Twitch. We hosted, we had all the designers, the videos are available on YouTube. All the designers walked through their process, explaining how was the process, collaborating with a 3D designer, creating and digitizing these tools, these looks. And we hosted over 500,000 people in 1 week. It was absolutely, and it was so shocking because normally for a fashion show, you sit down and it takes about 20 minutes for everyone to get settled and the show starts. There is the music, the lights, and the spectacle. And now I'm just in front of my computer and then it starts. In 2-3 minutes, it's ended. And I was like, wait, in 1.5 hours, a day of Fashion Week was over. I was a bit like, I'm too traditional for that. So it was a bit too quick, too fast. Everything happened very quickly. Anyway, 500,000 people came to see this whole process. So after that, back then we collaborated with a small startup blockchain company And I realized instantly when we were talking, it started from when we were talking about tech tools and about them delivering the tech tools that we had purchased from them. And we had to agree on the pricing of these 3D garments. And they said, no, you can't sell this for $1,000. You have to sell it for like $5. No one will buy it otherwise. And I said, no, but I've paid, the designer and the 3D artist and this and that and blah, 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 blah. So if I sell this for $5, like, what's the point? Like, this is way, way more valuable than $5. So I noticed at that moment, there is a serious pricing issue. How do you price a 3D asset? And now I'm going to make another disclaimer, and I want you to take it extremely seriously. In modern society, whatever that means, India is a developing country. You guys are not less than any designers or professionals in other countries. So if you sell yourself short, you will always be bought less. Do you understand what I mean? Do not sell yourself short. Do not do it. It's you who will enable that. If you keep your level up, find out what are the salaries that the Western people earn. Ask that next time you sell your services. Do not sell yourself short, because there is a lot of people that come in and they want to bargain and they say, hey, we'll do it half price less, like 50% less. People will go for that, but that's just not okay. You see what I mean? Your work, your quality, the end result, your services are as valuable as anyone in America, in Finland, in Sweden. Do not sell yourself short, okay? This is my most important message for you today. If you do, then we'll always stay in this terrible society that just is not fair. So you need to be strong. Be strong. Otherwise, you'll be taken advantage of. You'll forever earn less than others if you sell yourself short. Don't sell yourself short. Online means that it's global. So your work is as valuable as any other person's work. Another day, I was in a panel with people that were supposed to be sustainable companies, and I was really pissed to be there in the first place, because I've literally dedicated my entire career on sustainability. And they were talking about giving opportunities to people in the developing countries. And then I couldn't help myself, but I asked them, are you actually paying them as much as you paid to the Western professionals? I didn't get an answer, but the answer is obviously no. So anyway, ultimately we created this. I realized that, okay, there was a pricing issue, there was a supply chain issue. Blockchain is older than I am. It was invented and marketed before I was born. And it's always been traceable, transparent, right? These are the main selling points of blockchain. So blockchain is a technology where you can record smart contracts. Essentially, these smart contracts are NFTs. So these NFTs or blockchains are supposed to be traceable, transparent, and so therefore fair, right? That is not the case with all the blockchain companies, first of all, right? And there is also this new trend, which is inspired by the physical, terrible, unsustainable activity of the fashion industry, which is burning NFTs and burning clothing, essentially, but burning NFTs to keep the value of the asset. Not going deeper into that, I noticed a lot of bottlenecks in this industry. If we want to, the only reason why we should approach Web3 is to improve the Web2, right? Only reason why we want to use blockchain is to improve our supply chains. Only reason why we want to use crypto is to improve our current financial situation, right? So whenever you approach these technologies and these topics, have that in mind. If it is actually, in fact, improving the system that we actually are in right now. So I noticed that blockchain is actually not traceable and transparent. So, and people who don't have technical literacy do not understand, even when I explain what blockchain, they don't understand what blockchain is. Why is it important? Why should I implement blockchain to my business? Or why should I care as a consumer to if something is on blockchain or not? So fast forward Digital Village, I officially founded it last year, April. So let me actually share my screen because it's more pretty than looking at me all the time. So let me just share my screen. There you go. Okay, so this is my avatar. Her name is Kimiya Kawai. If you haven't done your own avatar, do it. It's a great investment. I think that creating your digital twin, for me, it's been a very transformative experience. It's hard to explain why, but it's almost like an out-of-body experience, right? I would take all my hair up and send a selfie from front and sides to the creator, and then a picture of myself, and then she would create this. And of course, I would compare the pictures that I sent to her with the avatar, and I would say, yeah, it actually looks like me. And my sisters, my mother, my boyfriend, my friends, it doesn't really look like you. It looks like you when you were 14. And that kind of offended me. I was like, what do you mean? It looks like me. It was made by my selfie today. So what are you talking about? So actually creating your digital twin, this was custom made. It doesn't necessarily mean that it's more expensive, but it's not made with one of those automatic avatar creation thingies. So I just don't like them. I don't think, I'm very particular when it comes to visual aspect. It has to be high quality. I mean, because we're looking at it all day long, otherwise we'll just, again, it's another loophole of a wormhole of Web2. So, so I recommend to all of you to create your own avatar. If you want to understand what direct to avatar, D2A, means, the new concept of direct to avatar business model, create your own avatar and you'll understand why it's relevant. So social media is extremely unsustainable place. It's not interactive. You get completely addicted to the platform. You essentially brand yourself in this platform. So essentially, you post a picture of yourself smiling, even if you were crying 5 minutes ago. So what you see in social media is not real. It's not the full story. But most importantly, these platforms are literally built to make us basically be addicted on them. So I wanted to create a social media where we can socialize without having to, just be the observer. So really to essentially have interactive experiences where you have agency, where you can actually impact the environment and the space you're spending time on. I'm going to just jump here because I'm aware of our time. So here on the left, you can see Kristen Bateman. She's the contributing editor for Teen Vogue. If you Google Kristen Bateman, you will see the accuracy of this avatar. So we have not yet launched our platform. We have done zero marketing or PR, but our platform is growing about 900% every month. It's crazy. I feel like people really care about things like curated environments, visual quality, having agency and tools to really build the Web3 space into your liking. It's like Sanjana can create her own metaverse and her own avatar, and she can decide how and when she communicates and contributes to her platform or other metaverses, how she socializes, who she socializes with. So I'm not the one telling her that this is how you have to do it and this is the only tools that you have, but she can actually have the agency in these platforms. So end of March, we will be dropping some land parcels. They will be affordable for individuals to buy, and we will be doing some auctions as well. So for me, Metaverse is the first step of IoT. So it's a space, it's an online space which will be growing bigger and bigger all the way to our physical lives. I really think so. Metaverse is the very small step, the first step to Internet of Things around us. ultimately, I see Digital Village as the ultimate social network that you can reach to. I can text Sanjana, sorry, I took you as my muse. I can text her when I live on Mars and she's on Earth. This is a long-term vision, you guys, don't be scared. But you have to think big, you know, in this field. So Web3 is only good if it solves the challenges of Web2. All right, let's just make it super clear that Web3 is facing the similar challenges of Web2. Web3 cannot magically just solve all the challenges. Building a metaverse, you need to think about a lot of different things. You need to think about metaverse interoperability, how you're going to collaborate with other metaverses. You need to think about how you build these spaces, what kind of tools you enable your users to have. You need to think about so many little details. And you need to, metaverse is combination of different tech solutions. And how you choose, which tools you choose to use and prioritize essentially will define how good your platform is. So we have our metaverse, so spatial environment, which I'm going to show you in a second. And then we have our marketplace. In the marketplace, you can sell and buy NFTs and you can export them for utility purposes, essentially use them in the metaverse space. We're about to launch our coin as well. Our coin essentially aims to mobilize, connect the digital and physical worlds. So we're aiming to, I can't reveal too much, but we are essentially creating a completely new system, not copy pasting the tokenomics of other metaverses, cryptocurrencies out there. I mean, if you want to create your coin, go ahead, Mohammed, create it tomorrow. It's so easy. You really don't need much. It's been done like 100 times. You can copy paste and create your own currency. But if it's going to be successful, if it's actually going to create positive impact, if it's going to actually contribute in solving the challenges of the current financial system, that's a different story. Creating a metaverse is not difficult. You open a project in Unreal Engine and you built it. You want to make a coin, go and make it, copy paste it, learn what the market does and copy them. But what I say in our team, I say, study the market and never copy it. So the way that everyone's doing it doesn't mean that it's the right way to do it. Another important message I want to leave with you today is that these are a set of tools and visions. You can tomorrow redefine, and that is a possibility, which I sincerely believe you can define tomorrow what metaverse is, and it can be the most successful metaverse. I mean, you can be head to head with Mark Zuckerberg. The good thing about Web3 is that everybody gets a chance. It's online. Doesn't matter where you live, who you are, you can make it happen. Okay? So keep that in mind. You don't need to be someone magnificent. I mean, I think you're magnificent as you are. You need to believe that, first of all. But you can do it. If you want to do it, you can do it. But don't do it in sake of trying to become rich or reach a certain status. You need to understand that your mindset, your intentions matter the most. Why you built these platforms? Why? What is the challenges that you're trying to tackle? Okay? And really, really important things to think about. So our long-term purpose of Digital Village is essentially building a more ethical internet. NFTs need to have supply chains. They need to be sustainable. They need to support physical supply chain. You need to take the physical supply chain, for example, a fashion industry, into consideration when you adapt to these tech tools. You need to understand who you need to train and how you're going to develop that supply chain. Okay, because like, for example, there is this new, like not a new thing, but there is this whole cancel culture thing. And then there is their environmentalists, who I love actually, but they come and say, no, we want you to stop all production right now. There is enough clothing in the world. As much as I agree with that, I disagree that it is possible. It's not possible, because the supply chain of different things, not just fashion, it's food, it's anything, any product, their supply chain have so many stakeholders, people in all around the world working from farms to factories, that you cannot ignore So making sustainable development, tackling challenges, improving our lives and our societies is a very detailed task. You need to take into consideration, how is my product? Okay, so I'm aiming to tackle that challenge, but how is my product going to impact, and what problems my product, even if it tackles certain challenges, it doesn't mean that it doesn't create new ones. So you need to think long-term, and you need to really build purposeful platforms. Okay, so utility for digital assets and NFTs. You need to be able to use your NFTs, otherwise you're buying JPEGs. So you can print them and, I don't know, hang it in your toilet. I don't know what you can do with NFTs. You can approach them as an investment opportunity, sure, but that's also not something that you just do. You have to be proactive. You have to follow the communities, be active. You need to participate into the conversation, okay? All right, so I think I'm gonna next show you a short video of Digital Village, and then I'll take some questions. I haven't followed the time at all, by the way, so. Okay. Okay, here we are, me and our developers. What you can do in Digital Village, you can talk, just like we're talking right now. I'm having a monologue, but you have positional audio chat. You can export your NFTs and wear them, dress into them, or build your own spaces and hang your JPEGs into your space. You can really do whatever you want in the metaverse. People ask me, what do people actually do here? Is there games and such? Yes, there is games and such. And there's a lot of different museums and activities coming in. But most importantly, I believe that the community does Digital Village. In the end of the day, anywhere you go, it's because of the other people. I mean, not anywhere, but most of the places, especially if you socialize. I mean, it would be pretty weird to go to a restaurant and it's just you. There is no one else. So the atmosphere, the energy is created by the community. So these are just some of our zones. We are obviously not in liberty to show any client works at this stage. And yeah, as you can see, my developers are very funny. Unfortunately, you can't hear the sound. You can, though, in my Instagram, I'll write it in the chat. You can see one video where we're actually talking. Okay, cool. Let's take some questions at this stage.
So we have a lot of questions coming in. So I would like to, we have selected a few questions to ask you. So I would like to call Aparna to ask you some questions. Or to Aparna.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Ma'am, one of the question is, what is your opinion on high energy consumption of cryptocurrencies?
Could you repeat the question? In my opinion?
What is your opinion about high energy consumption of cryptocurrencies?
Yeah, my opinion is that just like the eco-village concept, right? I had to build a sustainable space for Digital Village. It didn't exist. If you want to tackle the challenges that come, environmental challenges that come with cryptocurrencies, you have to build the solution, which I'm doing right now. I'm not at liberty to say what I'm building, but there is obviously a solution for that, and it's very straightforward. It is not something to ignore, but one thing I want to bring up is that sustainability is not just limited to environmental aspect of things, but it's a 360 concept. So that is just one of the challenges of crypto. Very important one. There is no solution like that to it right now, but if you want to solve it, you can. You just have to do the extra work to solve it. That's my answer to that right now. Hopefully that's satisfactory.
Hello, ma'am. I have
Hello.
another question. This is more of an open-ended question, but like many people here in India are quite apprehensive about crypto and blockchains since they are like decentralized and are not endorsed by the government. Like how can the community like tackle this issue? Like there are so many potential buyers and investors who are just not keen on it because of decentralization.
Yeah, I think I got half of that question, but let me say that a lot of governments are already developing their own cryptocurrencies. I believe heavily that considering geopolitical aspect and situation and how Anglo-America, Asia, are sort of dividing and how Europe is becoming this pool, I think because of climate change, because of wanting and needing to connect with the societies, with the citizens, I think governments have no choice but to adapt on cryptocurrencies. The question is when and how. It can be done correctly or in a wrong way. So the question is, how do we find the balance? How do we find the balance between private and public? It's not something that you can answer immediately, but there is a way. I think all governments will adapt it. And I think that crypto is something that you need to approach in steps. If I can transact with you with crypto, like peer-to-peer market, I think that is already a huge potential. Like we don't even need to, like, for example, I don't know if there is something like this in India. I know that secondhand clothing was something that people weren't very excited about in India, but it actually has changed a lot recently. But when you buy something in a Facebook chat from another person, you pay them in money. But do you actually, essentially what I'm trying to say is that you can exchange a lot of services. You can really ultimately use your cryptocurrency in an untraditional way. But I think it is at this moment something that is actually a real concern for the bankers, real concern, because it's way too big at the moment. Like it's really a bit too big to fail, I want to say. But if these communities and coins are optimal, something that governments will accept is a different question. But if crypto can be used in creating that coin, that can be, that currency that can actually be in a perfect balance between ownership and open source, it's possible. But if it's done yet, I mean, a lot of these communities, including Bitcoin, they have faced huge challenges and they keep facing them. But I do believe in crypto, and I don't think that governments have choice but to adapt them eventually. But how that will look like, I don't know yet. But that will also depend on how they will legislate these in the next few years. In the next 1 or 2 years, you will start seeing legislation around these things because they will understand that, okay, we can't avoid it, so we need to legislate it. And that's why they're also creating their own currencies.
Well, hello, ma'am.
Hello.
Yes, hello. So the other question which has come up is, how well has the Helsinki Fashion Week influenced other fashion events if we're looking into the metaverse-based approach for the sustainability? Like, how well was it accepted by the fashion industry in bringing the fashion element into the metaverse? Like, was there a mixed reaction at the first, and how well is it now?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, fashion industry is always a bit, reserved when it comes to getting out of your comfort zone, which is not completely controlled by yourself. I think that we did influence it largely. I mean, New York Fashion Week just had fashion shows in the metaverse. There is Decentralized Fashion Week coming. I mean, we get Google notifications all the time about Decentralized Fashion Week, where they are mentioning Helsinki Fashion Week's first 3D Fashion Week. London Fashion Week, or British Fashion Council, the organizer of London Fashion Week and Fashion Awards, invested in Digital Village. So yes, I would say that we have, and that's actually the first time one of the big four has actually taken an initiative on an existing metaverse of that scale. So I do think that we did a big influence. However, if these are executed well and sustainably, that's a different question. But I do think that we did influence there, and which is a good thing. With Helsinki Fashion Week, with the sustainable Fashion Week concept and you know, our eco-village concept, we did already influence the fashion weeks then. So, which is a good thing. We never wanted to be the only sustainable platform. Our goal has always been with Helsinki Fashion Week to be extremely like open source, to help others to become more sustainable as well.
Ma'am, can we ask a few more questions?
Sure. Or should we take someone else? I don't know how many people are actually raising their hands. But yeah, why not? Go ahead.
Ma'am, another question is, there are a lot of NFTs available. Some of them are going for huge prices. What is your opinion about that?
Yeah. Well, I think my opinion will be very, very clear in a month's time, more or less, with launch of Digital Village. You will understand what my opinion is. I think that that is just showing us how much we want to be part of different communities and how much our online presence matters to us. Really, that's what I think. I think even if it doesn't matter where we are from, you know, who we are, in the end of the day, we are humans and we share very similar urges. And I don't think that, you know, these NFTs that are selling, like, I mean, for example, the Bored Ape Yacht Club, right? I don't think that those are particularly beautiful artworks. I do think that they're fun, they're exciting, right? But I don't think that people are buying them because they love the monkeys. They are buying them because it's a symbol that they're part of a society. It's a status symbol that they're part of this society. It's like you're buying a luxury bag and carrying it. It's a symbol. You can buy a good bag from somewhere else that doesn't have a Louis Vuitton logo on it, but you choose to buy Louis Vuitton because that is maybe a personal goal. Maybe that's some kind of a metrics for you. Maybe you want to gain validation from everybody else, which people do seek for. So that's what I think.
Ma'am, another question in the chat is, what relevance has the fashion element brought into the metaverse? If you could.
Yeah, definitely. So think about, I see that there is this raise hand button here. Can you raise your hand if you're using Pokemon Go? If you played it? 1, 2, 3. Okay, we have some people here. So Pokemon Go, if you go to the sponsored version, like if you go to the sponsored items, you'll find a Longchamp bag, which is pretty ugly actually, but it is Longchamp bag. It's free. You can wear your avatar into it. But the first thing that I don't know if any of you have kids. I don't, but I know that the first thing most of the time that you lose control over of your kid is to choose what they wear. I mean, yes, maybe that's different in Indian weddings, you choose what they wear, but in day-to-day basis, you know, even if you don't think about it, subconsciously, unconsciously, you choose very carefully what you wear on that day. So clothing is much more than just trying to get validation of other people or self-expression, tool of self-expression. It's a reflection of your mindset. It is so much deeper psychologically that you can imagine. So yes, I think that fashion, basically clothing, skins, whatever you want to call it, in the metaverse is crucial. Imagine going to, who's a famous singer in India? Anyone?
I guess Guru Randhawa.
Okay, imagine him going into the metaverse in a pink skirt. You would react to it, right? So clothing does matter. What he wears matters, of course, because he sends a message, he has an image, he has a brand, right? So yes, it's very significant, it's important. And it's an incredible opportunity from business standpoint and sustainability perspective for the fashion industry, one of the world's most unsustainable industries. So yes, that's my answer.
Ma'am, would you like to take in one more question?
Yeah, let's take one more. Yes, let's take one more question.
We have a question here. Will the emergence of more decentralized social media applications assure data privacy to the public?
Yes, Digital Village will. So you have to, if you're after that, then you're our ideal user or member, villager, whatever you want to call it. Cool. Thank you so much, everyone. If you have any further questions, don't hesitate to send me a direct message on Instagram or LinkedIn or Pokemon Go. And otherwise, I'll see you guys in the metaverse soon.
There is a vote of thanks session. By that, we will conclude the session. So I would like to call Sudarshan to have a vote of thanks.
Thank you very much. It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so good evening to everyone present here. I'm Sudarshan Muralidharan, and I'm privileged to deliver the vote of thanks for this event. First and foremost, we are deeply thankful to you, Ms. Evelyn, for joining us at Tathva 21 to speak on the topic Decentralization of Crypto and Web3. I would like to thank and congratulate the members of the lecture committee on yet another successful lecture hosted as part of Tathva Lectures. We also express our gratitude to the audience who joined us to learn something new and showed a keen interest in the topic, even asking various questions to satiate their curiosity. And once again, I wish to thank Ms. Evelyn for setting aside time from a busy schedule for this event and sharing with us her views and knowledge on a very interesting and trending topic. We hope we may be able to have you on campus for future editions of Tathva. To conclude, excuse my Finnish, Kiitos ja hyvää päivän jatkoa.
Thank you so much. That was perfect.
Thank
you so much. See you guys soon.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. So by that, we are coming to the end of the session. So everyone can leave.
Thank you all once again.
Thanks. Bye.